It's that.
And welcome to Jammin, Jukebox, a radio show. I am your host, DJ Delta Donna, and wow, I am glad to be back with you. What is this? Is this Tuesday already? I'm kind of mixed up on my days. We had the holiday yesterday. It was a nice long weekend. I know for many of you out there who work like I do, it was great. I enjoyed having the time off, but we've also been off the last few days or so from the show here. We've just been taking some downtime, enjoying the holiday, and I hope that many of you out there had a great weekend and great holiday, and so your week is off to a good start. We are very happy to be back with you all tonight. We want to welcome everyone in that's listening, and also to the new listeners who've joined us tonight. We really appreciate you being here. And we've got a great show. This is going to be a little bit off the beaten path of the norm and this is a really a good show that I'm so excited about because we don't get to do this very often. So when we do, it's really a special show for us to be able to be a part of something like this. But tonight we're going to be speaking with a couple of folks who currently are working on an upcoming fundraiser. But, prior to that, they have an incredible story that kind of is a precursor to how the organization called Kruizin for Kidneys came to be. And it's just going to be a great show. And if this is the first time that you're joining us tonight, you're in for a great treat because it will pull at your heartstrings, and it will really help if you don't know a lot about kidney disease, or, if you've never dealt with that, or possibly you have a family member who's going through it, you yourself even. This is the show for you because we've got some great folks on the line tonight who are going to be enlightening and educating and also talking about their own personal experience with all of this. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you Chuck and Lynette Hooper. And to give you a little bit of a precursor, Chuck was diagnosed with kidney disease, and he, pretty much it was kind of a life-threatening deal. And he just has an incredible story. And there's another person I'll be bringing on very shortly. Her name is Lisa Porterfield. And you'll find out very quickly how Lisa and Chuck met and came to be. It is quite an inspirational story. So without further ado, I want to introduce to you Chuck and Lynette Hooper. Hello. How are you guys?
Hey. Good. How are you?
Hi. And hello, Lisa. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you.
Oh, well, you're welcome. Thank you for being here and allowing us the opportunity to chat with you and bring this to, a worldwide audience so that people can hear about this and possibly, if for no other reason, give them hope to know that there is help available, and what you guys are doing is just a wonderful thing. So I want to get started by, first of all, talking with you a little bit, Chuck, and finding out, about your experience with, the kidney disease and how that was for you when you found out you were diagnosed and how you dealt with that.
Well, it started off in 2010, just through a routine blood work check at work, at my employment. I was called into the office and was asked, did I know that there was some issues with my kidney function, and I had no earthly idea. So we monitored it for just a few months and redid the test again, and the creatinine level tells your kidney function, and in that short few months, my creatinine level had doubled, and so I was sent to a specialist at UNC called a nephrologist. In short, it's a kidney doctor, a kidney specialist, and they ran a kidney biopsy and found out that my kidney function was very low. At that point, it was about 12%, and from that point, it didn't take very long at all, and my kidney function was basically zero. Was in the hospital for about 5 days, started dialysis at UNC, and kind of went from there. But it was just, it can be that sudden. This is something I never thought in a million years that I would have to deal with. I was a very active person, played softball for many years. It just came out of nowhere. It can be that quick. So if there's anybody out there listening that even thinks that they may have something wrong with their kidneys, go to a doctor and get it checked and monitor it closely, because it can go away that fast.
Wow. And now, Chuck, you mentioned you were active. Did you have any kind of signs or symptoms that would have led you to believe, or was this just strictly because you had routine blood work at work and it was discovered that way?
It was just through routine blood work at work that it was. It quite honestly, it was just briefly mentioned to me at the inception, and said, well, we need to monitor it. And the monitoring led into, well, let's recheck your blood work in about 6 months. Well, within that 6 months, I went back and she checked it again, and it was time for something to happen. It had gotten that bad from a creatinine level standpoint. Your creatinine level is supposed to be a 0.7 to a 1.2. And when mine first showed up, my creatinine level was like a 1.5. The next time we had it checked, it was a 3. So it had doubled that quick. So it was just out of the blue. I had no earthly idea.
Wow. Now, I want to ask you a question for a moment, Lynette. As Chuck's wife, I mean, when you guys got this news, what was your first thought? I mean, because this, as he said, it came out of nowhere.
Well, my first thought was, because there's so little awareness about kidney disease and kidney failure, my first thought was, this is terminal. And that was devastating when you have a young family.
Oh, yeah, to be sure. Now, how long have you guys been married?
We've been married 14 years. Been together 17 years.
Wow. Well, and congratulations on that. That's a milestone in itself. But the very thought of thinking that you could possibly lose a loved one over something that you had no prior, really awareness of, because you had no need to think about it, and then all of a sudden you're slapped with this. I mean, I imagine it was very much like, someone who receives a cancer diagnosis or a diagnosis of another sort where, they're just shell-shocked, and because it really is not an expected diagnosis. And so from there, Chuck, what happened? I mean, as you started receiving dialysis, and for just to back up a little bit, for those who are listening who may not know exactly how dialysis works, can you talk a little bit about that, if you don't mind?
Yes, ma'am. Dialysis actually acts as an artificial kidney for you. You go, I went to the clinic 3 times a week for 4 hours a day. I went on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from noon to 4. And basically what happens is you have a port that they go in and hook into your main artery in your chest. And they hook those, you have lines running out of your chest that's maybe 6 inches long. And they hook those lines to a machine called a dialyzer, and that actually acts as your kidneys. It filters out all the contaminants, all the fluid that your body produces, because once you go into what is termed as End Stage Renal Failure, ESRD, that means your kidneys no longer work. You will get to a point where you don't urinate anymore. So your body has no way to release the fluids and contaminants from your body. Well, that in itself is not good. It will kill you. So the dialysis actually acts as an artificial kidney and pulls the contaminants and all of the fluid that your body retains throughout that time period. It takes it out of your body. They pull all your blood out, and maybe a cup full at a time. That's why you have to be there for 4 hours. Pulls it out, cleanses it, and then puts it back into your body. So that's just a repeated process.
Oh, wow.
I met people I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, in truth, when you think about how active you were, what a life-altering thing that must have been to know that 3 times a week you had to go to dialysis for 4-hour blocks of time. And, I mean, I imagine that just kind of, this whole thing just took over everything. I mean, you probably weren't able to work, were you?
No, ma'am. I was out of work. Thankfully, I've worked for the same company for 30 years. And so I had a company that was really behind me, and they allowed me to do what I needed to do. Lynette and I both actually worked for the same company, so they kind of kept up with my progress and what was going on with me through her. And so she was trying to work, and it's just another added stress to her. She's trying to work, take care of me, and it's just it was a tremendous amount of pressure for her. And it's not something I would wish on anybody. But back to the dialysis thing, I've met people through, and this is how I kind of got started in the wanting to do the Kruizin for Kidney thing. It's because I met so many people through the dialysis center from 16 years old all the way up to 75 years old. And I met one specific gentleman that really sticks out in my mind. He had been doing dialysis because he had other issues and wasn't available to receive a donated kidney. It just wasn't going to help him. He had been doing dialysis for 35 years.
Oh, wow. Wow.
So I think back to my time of having to do it for the short period of time that I had to do it, thanks to the lovely lady that's on the other end of the phone here. It was nothing compared to what I saw in some people and what they had to go through. But even in what I had to go through, dialysis, you're there for 4 hours, and they're pulling your blood out, putting it back in. It's just a dangerous process, and it will really tire you. It's just something that was just amazing to me at how it made me feel. It zaps all your energy. I just wasn't active anymore. Basically all I could do was, after I left the clinic, is come home and go to bed. And I would sleep the next day.
Wow.
Very life-altering.
Oh, yeah, and that just really touches my heart to hear you talk about this, because even I myself never really had a real grasp of just how invasive this is, and I've never actually known anyone until speaking with you tonight, who has dealt with this, and so this is quite educational for me, I must tell you, as well as I'm sure many of our listeners out there tonight. Now, Lisa, I want to talk to you about your role in all of this, because you really, without any other way to say it, you saved Chuck's life. And talk a little bit about that.
Well, basically that was the goal. When I heard that his kidney function had gotten so low and it was to the point where he was going to need help, there was no other way around it. The first thing I thought about was, okay, we know there's an issue, so now what do we do? And he told me at that point, we have to wait until I get to a certain point before we can even contact anyone. And so I told him, I said, as soon as you find out, you let me know. And basically, as soon as we hung up the phone, I was on the phone with Chapel Hill. What do I need to do? So the first step was to, of course, get a blood test. So they sent me all the paperwork I needed, got it filled out, sent it back, and they set me up for a blood test. If that's a match, then they proceed with all of the testing. So as soon as we heard that was a match, we jumped in with both feet and went ahead with testing. That took a few months. They do very extensive testing on the donor to make sure that they are perfect for the recipient.
That's amazing. And, I as I sit here, I get cold chills just listening to you talk about this, because I can't help but think, divine intervention had to have been in play, because, I mean, gosh, first of all, to hear you talk, it's like it was never a second thought in your mind that once you knew Chuck had this need, you were willing to do what it took to make sure he got what he needed to overcome this. And just, it's not every day someone can just give up a kidney or an organ. And for you to do that, I mean, that was such an act of selfless love on your part. Now, just so the listeners know, what is your connection to Chuck and Lynette?
Well, Chuck and Lynette and I met 4 or 5 years back through a mutual friend, and Lynette and I hit it off immediately. We've been best friends ever since, and so I've kind of been through a lot of what's been going on with Chuck from the beginning, and that's why as soon as, they told me how bad it had gotten, to what point it had gotten, it was no thought there. It was let's do this. Let's see, what I can do, if I can do anything at all.
Well, Lisa, I have to tell you, you are my hero, only because, you really do exemplify the meaning of a best friend. I mean, that is, we all have best friends, and we say, well, we would die for our best friends and so forth, but you really have demonstrated, your love of Chuck and Lynette to the point that you would go this extra mile. And it was never to prove anything. It was just being the friend that you are, and otherwise, Chuck may not be here. And, you literally saved his life. And Lynette, let me ask you, being, you and Lisa have been best friends for so long. I mean, when you learned that she was going to donate, she was very serious about this. There was no second thoughts. What was it like for you to know that she was willing to do that?
I had a lot of mixed emotions there. First of all, it's scary enough that it's your husband.
I'm going to interject something right here, Dawn. She can't talk about this without crying, so if you hear her tearing up, she's crying. And she's already crying.
I might be crying with her, so it's okay. We'll just boo-hoo together on the line. It's so heartfelt. This is such a beautiful story. I think I know what you're trying to say, Lynette. I can say that I've never lost anyone to this, but I did lose my boyfriend over 2 years ago, unexpectedly to a heart ailment that he didn't know he had. And, as I'm listening to you guys talk about this, it really does, make me wonder, had he gotten the treatment or had a blood test, maybe he would have known, maybe he would be here today. So to be able to have a friend in Lisa that just so willingly, without any kind of second thought, it was never, should I do this? What kind of risk is this going to be to me? None of that ever entered her mind. It's just so apparent that she just wanted to make sure you got the help you needed, Chuck. And I think that goes beyond the bounds of, gosh, friendship, times 1,000. It really is touching to know. And it really makes you wonder how God works, because you think about all those years ago when you guys met, he knew what was ahead, and he brought you together for a multitude of reasons, but one of the greatest reasons was obviously to save Chuck's life, and that is the biggest gift, you can, I think we all as human beings want to go out and help others and help them overcome or whatever it may be. When we're actually able to do that, it is really fulfilling our life purpose. And, my gosh, what a gift.
She is definitely the definition of divine intervention. But we talked to her, and she would not change her mind. That was our concern. We wanted to make sure she understood the commitment she was making, and she wouldn't even discuss it. But it was hard. It was hard knowing that the two people I love most in the world were going in the same direction towards the same operating room.
Well, I can imagine your fear.
Yeah, that was a tough day. there's just not enough words to describe what she has done for me and my husband and our family. I mean, she is family now.
Mhm.
There's actually, Dawn, if you go on our Facebook page for Kruizin for Kidneys, there's a picture on there of the moment we reunited. After she came out of surgery, I came out of surgery. I had gotten moved to my room, and so she was very adamant that she was going to see me at that very moment. So they had to get her out of bed, bring her to my room, and as she leaned over my bed to kiss me on the cheek, a picture was snapped, and when you see the picture, you'll see what I'm talking about.
Oh, okay. I would definitely check that out. And now I have to ask you both. I mean, obviously you've gone through, you've both come through the surgeries. And Lisa, I'll just start with you. How are you doing since you donated the kidney? I mean, you're one kidney less now. So has your life been changed in any way? Do you do anything differently? Are you perfectly normal, the same, or what is that like?
Actually, it doesn't feel any different than before I had surgery. There's a couple of things that the doctor said, stay away from that could affect my kidneys, but it's nothing that wouldn't affect anybody's kidney. But because I have one and it's in the process of, growing to support the needs that two were taken care of, I have to be very careful. One of them is I can't take ibuprofen. And the other is he told me not to drink Mountain Dew. So, for me to only have to stay away from those two things and not really do anything different, I'm doing extremely well. I have not had any issues whatsoever, and I go back in February of next year for my first checkup.
Well, and what I think is so amazing is that, your kidneys, at least those are a pair of organs that you can live without one if you need to.
Right.
And still function. And I think that's miraculous because, in your case, you were able to donate one to Chuck. You're doing okay. Now, obviously, he's doing okay. And, Chuck, I have to ask you, how are you doing now that you've had the surgery? I imagine your quality of life is greatly improved since those days of dialysis.
Absolutely. I went back to playing softball again. A very avid Harley-Davidson rider. I get the bike out quite a bit now and ride. I went for about 2 years and really couldn't do that. So everything for me is just, it couldn't be better. Kidney function, I have checked every 2 weeks at this point. I was just cleared to go to a month. So I don't have to have all this blood drawn anymore. I started out at every other day, then it went to once a week, then it went to once every 2 weeks, and I just went and seen my doctor last Tuesday, and she cleared me to go to once a month. So I couldn't ask for it to be better.
And I must tell you, those baby steps and those milestones are like major celebrations, I'm sure, every time you get to clear, from one milestone to the next. And in terms of how you look at life now, how do you embrace life versus before?
You don't take anything for granted. Even walking outside and hearing the birds chirp or a dog barking or playing or fishing with my son, my 15-year-old son, you don't take any of that for granted anymore because it can be taken away from you.
That's really incredible. And I love the story because, it is a story that definitely has a happy ending, and I'm very happy for all of you to have been able to, to come through it. And Lisa, that you were the perfect match. I mean, literally, you were the perfect match, and you're doing well from it. Chuck, I know you and Lynette are, able to get out and do things now that you couldn't do, and it's probably like a brand new life, again. And so, and two, being married, anytime you go through something that big, it can be very trying, I imagine. And to be able to come through that, I'm sure you're much stronger as a couple now, too, as well.
Absolutely, absolutely. We laugh a lot more and just kind of hang out a lot more, and we try not to do anything without the other one.
The house gets cleaned a lot less.
And the house gets cleaned when we get to it.
You just kind of, I think that really does, a situation like this really does kind of put things in perspective and helps you to kind of realize what the really important things are in life and what are more trivial, the things that we shouldn't get hung up on. And this is just such an inspiring story. I mean, it is quite touching, I must tell you. Now, as you've gone through this, Kruizin for Kidneys obviously has been born, and talk a little bit about the organization and what you guys are doing with it to raise awareness for kidney disease.
Well, it started out as a benefit ride for me. It was something that my sister and my cousin put together for me, and when we saw the large turnout that we had for my event, Lynette kind of walked over to me and she said, this is something I think I want to try to keep going. And I was just, well, what do you mean? She said, there's just not enough. These people don't know what they're really doing here. They just know that they're here to kind of help us raise money for you. But do they really know what you've been through, what caused what you've been through? And just as an informative comment, my situation, I had a disease called focal segmental glomerulosclerosis. That's a mouthful. It's FSGS for short. It's FSGS for short, and it just simply means that your kidneys quit filtering. And when your kidneys quit filtering, they just...
Yeah, I mean, that... You kind of cut out a little bit there towards the end of what you were saying.
When the FSGS really, in short, just means that your kidneys quit filtering. And when your kidneys quit filtering, of course, there's no function in them, and they'll dissipate. Your kidneys will actually go away. Your body will actually dissolve. Your body will actually dissolve them. And as Lisa mentioned a minute ago, when she and I were left with one kidney, our one kidney will actually grow to the size of two, and it'll do the work.
Wow.
Of two. And that's the type of education that we wanted through Kruizin for Kidneys to bring out. And, we want to help people, but we also want to bring out, and Lisa's very instrumental in this part of it, is getting people to understand that to donate, there's a lot of sayings out there. You got two, give one, don't take them with you. It's a very true saying, because Lisa's living proof that you can do that and your life really doesn't change that much. Share your spare.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So when we started our Kruizin for Kidneys, as I said, Lynette's idea was to bring more awareness to the type of issues that kidney disease can bring on, and kind of educate people as to how quickly it can come on and what's at stake. A lot of people sit back and wonder, well, if I donate a kidney and then I have problems with my other kidney, what happens? You go immediately to the top of the list. You get the very next kidney that's available through the national donor list, unless you find your own living donor. You go to the top of that list, and you get the very next kidney available because you were a living donor. So there's a lot of information there.
And as you're talking about this, I know that there's, by many people out there are so many mixed feelings about, being an organ donor, when people die, where they can put that on their license. And it's so important because, listening to your story, I mean, you would not be here on this show right now talking, probably. Not necessarily gone, but too sick to be on the air. And if Lisa had not saved your life and donated a kidney, and it's really, yes, it's a process, but I think it's so important to be an organ donor and to be willing to do that, because the lives that can be saved as a result are just numerous, and the fact that a part of you can live on in someone else is also very important. So I think it's a very important thing. And, it's, you know, growing up, always heard of kidney dialysis and kidney disease. I didn't really know what it was. I didn't really know what the extent of that was for someone. I just knew that if someone had to go through that, it was not a good thing. But, you know, you're right. I mean, Lynette is I think she hit the mark. There's not been a lot of information and exposure out there about this disease to bring awareness to it that I think does need to be brought to it. And from both sides of the spectrum, from someone who's dealing with it and from someone who may be interested in donating, because, you know, you just never know if you're going to be a perfect match for someone.
Yeah, and also, Dawn, I'd like to say, you know, a lot of people out there, they want to, you know, talk to somebody about donating because they want to try to help a family member or help a friend. But I want everyone to know that when they do that, they're not just saving the life of the one that is suffering from this disease. They're saving the life of their family members, their loved ones, the ones that are caring for them, that are closest to them. When I found out about all of this, this was not just about, you know, Chuck is sick, let's see what we can do to help him. I had watched Lynette go through everything she had gone through, and, you know, just like they have said before, there was so many things he could not do anymore, and to see even their son, you know, want to know, why can my dad not do this for me today? Why, you know, can he not pick me up, or why can he not take me there, or, you know, why is he always sleeping, or, you know, there's so many things that he did on a daily basis that he was not able to do, that Lynette had to pick up. She had to do these things, and, you know, and it's a lot for a small child to understand as well. And so when you step in to help somebody, you are helping so many more people. You know, you're saving their life as well.
That's so well said. And I just want to interject something here. As I was looking at the Kruizin for Kidneys Facebook page recently in preparing for this interview and also looking through the photos, I have to ask Lynette and Lisa, you both, has anyone ever told you that you two could pass for sisters?
For sisters, yes.
Yes. I mean, I'm like, for the first time I looked at your pictures, until I got to the photos of the hospital, I was like, who is who? You know, it was interesting because you really do look a lot alike, and then you're best friends. I mean, that is the coolest thing. So, it's just such a neat story. I mean, I'm just so touched by your story. And now, as a result, I mean, you guys are doing fundraisers, and, you know, it started from just a mere fundraiser for you, Chuck. It's grown into much, much more. It's great. It's bigger now than it was. You guys have got an upcoming fundraiser that's coming up on September 14th, and talk a little bit about that and what that's all about.
Well, actually, that is one of our smaller benefits to help raise money for the organization. We have our major ride in June that we will be doing every year. That is our big benefit, where we actually try to help someone else out financially, help also raise, you know, awareness about the disease as well as about being an organ donor in many different ways. And we've got people that help us through the organization Donate Life and whatnot. So what we're planning on doing is throughout the year have smaller events to try to help raise money so that we can make these yearly benefits, you know, the best that we can make them. So the one coming up is called Rockin' for Kidneys, and it is basically some local live bands that are going to be coming, and they're going to help support us. We've got Mitchell Street that's going to be there. That they came and helped out in June, and it was wonderful to be able to call them up and just tell them what we're doing. And so many of these local bands, they just jump right in. A lot of them I'd never met before, and gave them a call and said, this is what we're doing.
Sure. I know. I mean, I am amazed because, you know, it is, first of all, being that you guys are from my area, it was a no-brainer to have you on the show tonight. But to have an event like this, coming up in my hometown, by the way, to have as many bands that are on board with this, I mean, it really does show the support surrounding your organization, and that everyone is really working together to raise this awareness, which I think is so crucial, and it undoubtedly is going to be a great event. Now, Jerry, I'm going to have you chime in a little bit, if you don't mind. Talk a little bit about the event itself, the details of that, where people can check it out, the times and so forth, if you don't mind.
No, I don't mind at all. It's going to be on Saturday the 14th. We've wrestled around with the times, but what we're looking at now is from 2 p.m. until, we're not going to run anybody away. Just getting prepared to do all we can to make sure the people that are coming out and supporting us and helping out more people than they could ever know. It's clearly a trickle-down effect. So that's we're looking to do that, and food, and again, bands. They're just a great bunch of people. Mitchell Street, Caroline. I don't know what I would do sometimes without knowing that if I call her and say we've got she is just a very good fresh breath, So and the other groups, brand new group, Toolbox Kitty, they got together for the June event, pretty much for that, and they're really jumping in. Chris and Adam, and their band Last Shot Down. Chris is, he's just unbelievably into everything he can do. So, I can't thank all the people and all the bands. I'm hideous with names anyway, but it's so many that you don't really think of that it takes to get this thing going. And again, as we're trying to make it grow, we want to do all we can to help people learn, and to educate people about this and the greatness that can be done.
Oh yeah, well said. And I mean, it's going to be a great event, and I'm going to make a point to get out at least for part of the day that day. My schedule is always so crazy, but I definitely want to come out and meet you guys. And now, Chuck and Lynette and Lisa, you guys will all be there, I assume, correct?
Yes,
I will definitely be there.
You will be there.
Definitely. Well, I definitely have to get out and see you guys and meet you in person, and also just to listen to some great music. I'm a sucker for indie bands. My show here is specifically targeted for that. I love, it's some of the best music on the planet. And, and transitioning to that, tonight on the phone, we also have Caroline from Mitchell Street, and I believe we have 2 of your bandmates, Caroline. Let me check and see. Hello. Yes. Hey, have I got everyone? Hi.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do.
Hey.
So do I have all of Mitchell Street on the line?
I believe so.
All right, awesome. Who else have I got besides Caroline?
You got Jason Mitchell and myself, Chris Joplin.
Awesome. Well, it's nice to meet you guys, and thank you for being so kind to hold while we've been speaking with Lisa and Chuck and Lynette. Talk a little bit about your band, because now Jerry has told me amazing things about your talent, your music, and, of course, I'm going to see you very soon, probably at this event coming up on the 14th. So talk a little bit about how you came to be as a band and the style of music that you guys play.
Well, I guess it all started about 7 months ago for Jason and Caroline. I'm Chris. I played mandolin and banjo, and I started noticing a fairly talented guitar player. He's got a great voice, Jason, and an amazing singer, Caroline, going out to open mics and playing. And I said, you know what, I need to get together with these guys and see what we can do. And
hello.
We both we all just kind of clicked, and it just basically started from playing open mic around town to doing benefits like this, being invited to play at benefits like this, which we absolutely love to do. Because it kind of, we're not going through anything like what these guys are going through, but we all go through hardships in life. So music is kind of our outlet, our way of correcting things. So, we're really passionate about it. And when we get an opportunity to play at an event like this, there's no doubt whatever we have on our schedule at the time, forget about it. We're going to be there. And it's an honor to be invited to play at something like this.
Well, and all you had to say was mandolin and banjo, and I'm there. I mean, that is one of my favorite styles of music.
Yeah, we're not in you, but you can't really. When you hear those kind of instruments, you automatically think bluegrass, but that's not it.
You're right.
Caroline loves top 40, top country and stuff like that. Jason's an old folk and blues and country man, and I am an old bluegrass man myself. So we kind of combine these three genres of music, and out of the three, we get a really interesting mix. I mean, we'll come up there and do Adele songs with a banjo and an acoustic guitar player with her singing. It's different. It's fun. It's fresh. I hate to say that, but it's true. There's not a lot of people doing that around here in the area that we're in. So, and for us being able to do stuff like this, it's opened up a lot of doors for us too. So it's a win-win situation for everybody that's a part of this.
Most definitely, and I believe that music is one of those things, unlike anything else out there, that is a universal language for so many people because, everyone interprets it differently, but music is such a powerful thing that, like you were saying, Chris, is that we all go through things, and it is the one thing that can really speak to us like nothing else can. It can be a healer when we're hurting, and it can be a great party sound when we're happy and we want to celebrate. I mean, it really does cover all things in the spectrum. And so you guys are obviously playing at this event, and about how many gigs do you play a month, would you say?
A month? We probably play 4 or 5 a month, maybe 6 sometimes. It's like I said, we've only been together for about 6 months now. So in the past 6 months, we're starting to get phone calls. We're starting to, instead of us looking for gigs, people are actually starting to look for us, which is wonderful.
That's awesome.
Truly amazing, to be honest with you, considering how it started out just playing a couple songs at an open mic night to now where we got 50 songs and we're playing pretty much every weekend now, and we're hoping that we can make it every Thursday, Friday, Saturday, every Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and it'd be nice to say I do this every day.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have to ask, are you guys working on any original material? Is there going to be an EP or a single at some point that, I'm asking obviously because if you do release anything like that, I'd love for you to get it in my hands or Jerry's hands to get to me so that I can play it on the show here and promote it to our audience.
Well, we do throw a couple original songs in there every now and then. But we haven't really found, like I said, all three of us come from different genres of music, so we haven't really found our niche yet when it's the three of us working on new material. So when we do sneak our new songs in, people don't realize there are songs. They come up to us and, hey, who wrote that song? Who did that song? And, Jason wrote that sitting out at the carport one night, or sitting out by the bonfire, and it's all new to us. We're still just trying to find our niche out there in the music scene. We're still doing majority of cover tunes. But like I said, we kind of add our own little flair to it. We kind of make it ours.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Well, I will say to you on air that when we get off air, if you will, shoot me an email with your information because I'd love to be able to put some information up on our website about you guys. And also I've got a couple of connections that I'd like to hook you up with if you'd like that. I've got a band. I've got a local band in mind right now that I think you know, if you guys are going to be playing some gigs, they're doing a lot of, they've actually appeared on this show, and they have had some major doors open just since they were on the show here. I'm still kind of amazed. And they're excited. Things are happening for them now. So, but, you know, not only that, but, you know, anything I can do to help you guys get your sound out and let you be heard to the world, you know, and to, you know, increase your fan base, I'm happy to do it. That's what I do. So anything I can do to help, I'm very glad to do that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you'll have to get with Caroline on that. She handles all that. Jason, well, I'm not slack, but
the female in the bunch is keeping everything straight. I hear you. Caroline, I will
to keep us guys in line and check.
I wasn't going to say that, but since you've acknowledged it, that's so true. Caroline, I will send my information to Jerry, and he can get that to you. And if you don't mind emailing me, then I'll be happy to get that ball rolling for you guys.
No problem.
Thank you so much. Yes.
Oh, well, thank you. Well, I want to thank everyone for being our special guest tonight. I mean, this has been a phenomenal show. I do a lot of shows, but I have to tell you, this is probably my favorite, just because this story is just so heartfelt. It has touched me in such a great way, and I know the listeners out there have been touched as well. And Lisa, I mean, you are a real, you're an angel. I mean, to be able to give in such a selfless way. And Chuck, I mean, I am so excited that you have come through this on the other side, and things are going well. Lynette, I'm happy for you guys. It's just a real blessing what's happened. And you not only have blessed one another, but you've blessed us all here as well this evening, sharing your story, and I can't thank you enough.
Well, thank you for having us.
Thank you, Dawn.
Oh, you're so very welcome. And thanks, and best of luck, and I will definitely see you guys on the 14th.
We are looking very forward to it.
All right. Well, take care, all, and you guys have a great night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We'll see you
All right.
guys
Thank
soon.
you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Dawn, I would just like to add in closing how much we really appreciate you and how quick you were to join in and be willing to do whatever you could to help me. You've taught me a lot.
I know nothing, Jerry. I know nothing. No, I'm teasing you. Thank you. This has been an honor and a real privilege for me. I am truly touched and blessed by this. Chuck and Lynette, Lisa, my gosh, what an incredible story. Thank you for asking me to be a part of it. It is just, you know, I'm so humbled by that. And so, yes, I mean, moving forward, anything that I can do to help in any way with any of this, I'm happy to do it. So just let me know what you need, and I'm happy to oblige.
Okay, thank you so very much for all the opportunities you have laid out for, you know, that could really help our organization go a lot bigger and serve the people that need to be served without a lot of the red tape, or as little of the red tape as we can, but none with the money. The money is just kind of, you know, whatever we can get goes to them.
Yeah, most definitely. Well, I'm glad to do it. Well, Jerry, have a great night, and again, thank everyone so much for being on our program tonight. It's just been a real treat.
Thank you, Dawn.
All right. Take care, all. Good night.
Bye.
No.
I tell you, I've been at this for a little while now, and that has to be undoubtedly my favorite show to this point. I kid you not. Anytime, I'm a real sucker for a good story, and you know, and you hear about this stuff in the news, but this is my first experience of being up close and personal with people who live in my area who have done this, and wow, it is just such an honor to be a part of it. And again, for anyone who may be cruising through Mebane, North Carolina on September 14th, or if you are listening here in North Carolina and you want to get out to this event, again, the event is Rocking for Kidneys, and it's an awareness benefit for Kruizin for Kidneys charity. It's going to be Saturday, September 14th. It begins at 2 p.m. and runs to 2 a.m. And the admission is $12 a person. It's an all-day entry fee. There's going to be plenty of food. And even it's going to be at the Clay Street Tavern, by the way, which is located at 130 West Clay Street in Nevin, North Carolina. And got a great musical lineup: Sentenza, Mitchell Street, Toolbox Kitty, Last Shot Down, and there's even going to be an acoustic and DJ on site playing as well. So it's going to be a great night of fun. If you love live music, this is the event. This is the go-to event. And you'll also be supporting a great cause. So please show your support. And again, also, if you want to follow the organization, Kruizin for Kidneys, on Facebook, just go to their Facebook page, Kruizin, and that's Kruizin for Kidneys. Just do a search for that. You'll see the page, and you'll see, Chuck and Lynette and Lisa and her hubby. And I'm telling you, Lynette and Lisa could pass for sisters. It's incredible how much they look alike. But just a great story. I hope that you were as touched by that as I was. And also, we just want to say a huge thank you to all of them for being with us tonight and sharing their story. And also a thank you to Mitchell Street for being our special guest. A great band, and I look forward to many, many great things coming down the pipes from them. And so with that is going to wrap our show, folks, for this evening. And we will be back here early next week, a week from today, with contemporary Christian artist Linda Clark. So that'll be at 7 p.m. Eastern, so you'll want to join us for that. But in the meantime, take care all. Make plans to get out and support Kruizin for Kidneys on September 14th at Clay Street Tavern in Nevin, North Carolina. You'll be glad you did. And thanks so much, everyone, for being with us tonight. Take care, and we'll see you again soon. God bless. Good night.
Hey, you. Yeah, you, the one listening to this. Go to Stitcher.com and download the free app. It's a free app that lets you listen to our show 24/7, 365, anytime you'd like. You don't ever have to miss another episode again. And you can listen to thousands more shows and stations just like ours. So go now. Download it to your mobile devices, your Androids, your iPhones, your iPads, whatever you got. It's Stitcher.com, and it's free. Thanks for listening to tonight's show. You can connect with Jammin Jukebox Radio Show on Twitter at Jammin Jukebox or on Facebook at Jammin Jukebox Radio Show. Check out our website at thejamminjukebox.com. Also, follow us on Blog Talk, where you will be always up to date on every episode as we add it. Each episode is available for immediate download upon the conclusion of each broadcast, and as always, on iTunes. Thank you for joining us.